Welcome to From the Tailgate, where we talk sports and music. All the while we sit up on the tailgate with the grill fired up and a cold adult snack in our hand. You know what I'm talking about. We are psyched for you to join us, so drop your tailgate and listen in as we bring in some great guests from the world of football, music, and pitmasters, helping your grill game, and local brewers guiding us to the best local craft beers. All right, let's get to the show.
All right, everybody. Time for another episode of From the Tailgate. Today I'm joined by Joe. Good morning, Joe.
Morning.
I guess it's afternoon right now.
Well, afternoon, yeah.
Yes.
We're right on the cusp.
It was a little bit of a rough night for me, so I'll live with morning. And Shasta, how are things out there on the wrong coast?
About 80 degrees and sunny.
Must be nice.
Yeah, we got you by about 20, I think, or at least 10. Yeah, it's real hot and humid here. Get into talking about some really interesting summer beers today. But before we do that, I just want to touch on Yellowstone. As everybody knows, Shasta and I are kind of big Yellowstone junkies. Groupies, whatever you want to call us. But the show is awesome. I think I've got Joe close to coming on board and watching it on a regular basis. I might have to buy him some program or something so he can watch it, but that's okay. So, What are you thinking about tonight's episode?
I think that Beth might meet her match a little bit tonight with that new girl coming on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, no doubt.
I don't think she's ever met another one like herself.
No, I saw a trailer or a preview or whatever you want to call it, and it really looks like tonight's going to be action-packed.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot coming down.
Yep, so we're excited about it. But we're going to leave it at that because you're not going to hear the show until after the show has actually taken place. So I'm excited. Shasta's excited. Joe is being coerced. I guess that's the best way we can put it. Stay tuned. At the end of the show, we will come back, Shasta and I, and we'll be chatting about actually what happened tonight. And we can all go from there. Sound good?
Hey.
Good to me.
I'm going to get Joe in on this one way or another.
Joe, you need to watch. You're missing out.
I'm listening to, you know what he's got me doing? He's got me listening to the soundtrack of the show. And that right there is just, that might get me in.
It's good. The music's awesome.
That leads me to one thing I really want to talk about. And if you're following us on social media, you kind of know this already. But I'm a huge fan, after living for 4 years in Texas, of red dirt country rock music.
Yep.
I just love it. There's a band, and they came out in like 2007, I believe, called Whiskey Myers. Folks, if you're not listening to Whiskey Myers, go do it.
You're missing out.
Yeah, they're not one of those today's era of country music. I don't know what you even call that, Shasta. Pop country, whatever.
Yeah, it's like pop country, yeah.
You know, modern country, we'll call it. Because there's really good stuff out in modern country as well. But Whiskey Myers is that old school Southern rock, country, red dirt music.
Yes.
So they were kind of doing well. Their first album was met with good response. And then in 2018, they used, I believe, 4 songs from Whiskey Myers on the soundtrack for Yellowstone. And it really got them out there. And they've since had a number 1 in Stone, I believe, was the song, et cetera, et cetera. But I still don't feel like enough people are listening to them. I reached out to them. I'm hoping to get them on down the road here. But it's a great band. It's great music. I think it's Sunday music. It's
back porch music.
Yeah, back porch is perfect. By the fire or driving down the road in, I don't know, your new Jeep Mojave Gladiator that's coming in soon. Whatever the case may be, it's the music to be listening to. If you loved Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top and that type of music, and Zac Brown, that's kind of my combo that's going off in my head. Go listen to these guys. I'm a words guy. The words to their songs are tremendous, clear, concise. A lot of fun.
And they have that gravelly sound that I love.
Absolutely. I wish I could have that gravelly sound.
I know.
When
Me too.
When it comes to singing, I have nothing but bad sound, so we won't even go into that. So, it's an interesting week in sports, Shasta. How are you feeling about, what are you laughing at me for so early in the morning?
I don't know. I'm just like in such a panic over football. I don't even know.
But let's not panic just yet. My biggest concern, frankly, right now is what's going on in baseball. First, we had this outbreak with the Marlins. Now it appears that there's a few more Cardinals that also have it than was reported yesterday or the day before. So it seems like they have a little bit of an issue. They're the one that, of all of them currently, that aren't playing in the bubble. They're traveling. It seems, it's been reported anyway, that the Marlins got connected with COVID in the Atlanta airport. I don't know. I'm concerned. I also liked what Rob Manfred said, and I'm not a big Rob Manfred fan. I don't think baseball is run anywhere near like the NFL, even though it's Goodell, or more Point Silver with the NBA. But he said, we're not quitters. We're going to work our way through this, and we're going to adopt and change as it goes. I'm okay with it. Let's just get through this season. Let's learn from it. We all know that the NFL's sitting back watching every single thing they're doing, good, bad, indifferent. So I
don't know. I think the NFL, the people that the NFL have working on this situation for them are really like racking their brains to just completely have a better setup so that it doesn't have to be canceled. I mean, we don't have, not one Patriot has been tested positive, which is great. Everybody keeps coming back negative, which is great, which means that they're all doing their part to avoid it. I don't know if that's what's happening in baseball. Like, how come all these Marlins had it? Well, probably because the entire state of Florida was running wild.
Yeah. Florida's their own beast.
Well,
yeah. I mean, you have to just, if you want to play, you have to stay home and you have to take all the necessary precautions. That's it. That's the bottom line.
Did you see that Matthew Stafford tested positive yesterday?
No.
Exactly.
No way.
Yep. So he's on the PUP list, COVID related.
Oh, no.
That man can't. The only luck he has is bad luck.
Ain't that the truth? Oh, no.
He's such a good quarterback. He can't stay healthy. And then this happens.
Yeah. Man, that's awful.
So fortunately it's now. It can run its course. But he's not allowed to be practicing. He's not allowed to be with the team. All of that stuff we know. And I think it's 14 days he's quarantined for, and then they'll bring it back and see where he's at.
I wonder if he even knew that he had it, or if it just found out when it tested positive.
No, I'm sure that that's what happened. Well, I'm not sure. It said he has several symptoms now, but that he's feeling good. So,
well, that's good.
You know, a lot of the folks that have this are walking around with it and don't know it. We all know that's the problem, and we're just not getting there today. It continues, though, the peculiarity of this year continues to bode well, in my opinion, for coaching. I think when you have this situation, which is not normal, like when I was in the military, and Joe, you could speak to this as well, there was a time and reason and way to do everything. And then when you got deployed and went somewhere, it all went to the wind because you were adapting all the time to what's going on. I was watching a deal about the hoodie, Belichick, and how he's taking on adapting to all of this stuff. And it's interesting because I watched it in the same day, and I can't believe I hadn't watched this yet. I went on HBO and watched the special of Saban and him and Belichick. Have you seen that yet, Asta?
Yeah, it's good.
So good. And I'm just sitting there. It's clear as day. So the NFL already is a coaching-driven sport, more than baseball, more than basketball, etc. I think it's going to be even greater this year. He came out and said, we've already recreated a way to do this. And he was correlating it to the lockout of 2011 when the players were locked out and they didn't have the traditional spring to get prepared, and that the team has a plan to maximize everything. And I thought to myself, how many teams legitimately have that? And then I'm sitting there and I'm listening to that special on HBO, and Coach Saban says, there are only 2 or 3 NFL coaches or systems, teams that would call him and ask about a player. That'd be like the first thing I do.
I know, right?
But apparently Belichick, and yes, you're good friends, but apparently it's standard operating procedure. He calls on all these coaches on all these players. And so they got into this whole thing about, and you saw the show, and folks, if you haven't seen it, definitely take the time to go see it, about when somebody says a bunch of good stuff about a player, and then they say, but. And Belichick's whole thing and Saban's whole thing was, I listen closely to what is said after the word but.
Yeah.
Because I already know the good stuff. What comes after the but is the most important thing you can hear in that conversation.
That's absolutely true.
And so it makes me, and I want to really get your insights into this, it makes me curious why our boy Clowney is still available. Clearly a great football player. Injury prone a little bit. Some other stuff I don't know about. Why is he still out there?
Well, I mean, from what I'm reading and what I've seen is that he had some kind of a core injury that they haven't been able to really look into to make sure that he's healthy enough to even play, first of all. Because of the COVID, they're not able to do the full physicals that these coaches are wanting before they even offer them anything. So maybe that's part of it. But
they can now, right?
Huh?
I think the NFL is allowing these players to receive physicals right now. They have to move forward with the season.
Well, I would think that it's been cleared by now, but I think that was the original issue. And then my other thing is when you're talking about the but and what comes after the but, for me with Clowney, it would be, but he reached out to the Jets to play for the Jets. Who in their right mind wants to play for the Jets?
Somebody who's not got a lot of offers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're just going to reach out to the, one that you think is going to be the most obvious pick for you. Like, they're just going to snatch you up, and then they didn't even want him. So I don't know.
Well, I think with everything up in the air, the way it is right now, with him, and the league for that matter, I think there's a lot of question marks out there. But I cannot help but think about Belichick, the hoodie, is sitting somewhere in an office, sending out a little note to his agent going, I think you should come here and we'll take care of him. In that whole Belichick tone. And,
yeah, how could we not? I want him.
Well, with what's going on with Dante Hightower, not playing this year, and some other players, but specifically at the linebacker, that kind of hybrid position, I think Clowney, if healthy and mind in the right place, could come to New England, have an unbelievable season, and then really launch himself back into a payday. So many people have done it. Our quarterback right now, for that matter, is on that exact same deal. So there's something deep down in my gut that says I am not going to be shocked if in the next 3 to 5 days we hear that he's coming to New England.
I wouldn't either.
What are your thoughts?
I can totally see it happening. I kind of have always, like, the year that he was in the draft, he was hands down my number one pick. So for me, I feel like I always hold on to those players that I've been drawn to in the draft, and almost always they end up playing for us, because I feel like you just kind of know what is going to work in our system. Although a lot of people say that he's not going to work in our system, that he's not a good fit. I just disagree. I think he'd be great on our team. I think he has a lot to offer still, and I don't think it's over for him. So we'll see.
It's a mystery. It really
It
is. I'll tell you, one of the best hits I've ever seen in my life was the one he put on.
Dude, he can hit so hard, it's unreal.
Yeah, he definitely rearranges some thought processes.
Yeah.
So have you heard anything else? That's really the only thing laying out there. I know they're looking at bringing one of the receivers back, and that quarterback that they just released, they brought him back in as well.
I know, and I'm kind of disappointed. I thought they would bring Jamar back. I kind of wanted to see him a little bit.
When I see that stuff, though, it makes me think one thing. Belichick knows something we don't know.
I know, always.
He keeps those cards close to his chest, and there's got to be a reason that it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit shocked that Lacoste was opting out. I wasn't really expecting that. I would have thought, but maybe he's feeling a little threatened by Keene. So,
well, that's exactly what I thought when I saw it. So,
because he's a beast, he's gonna be so good. That, and then Uche stepping in for Hightower, I feel like is going to be amazing.
I think Uche is going to be really, really good. It'll be a question of whether it's this year or next year.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to play well this season. I just have a gut feeling, and I think he's only going to get better every year.
I don't disagree with that part. He is going to get better every year. I think it was an awesome pick. I'm excited for it. So you and I, we've spent some time, and I'm going to bring Joe in on this one. And you and I talked a little bit about it prior to this, but Joe's not aware, so we're going to kind of bring him along. I've been sitting back, and we're all trapped in this COVID stuff and everything else that's going on in the world with politics and all that. To say I'm fed up is an understatement. First of all, we've all made up our mind who we're going to vote for or not vote for. Let's just not talk about it anymore, and let's just get it done. But one of the things that's truly troubled me, and I'm going to do something about it, we as a team are going to do something about it, is this horrendous information that's coming out about human trafficking.
Yes.
I am so offended that this is just being swept under the carpet and not talked about right now. It's beyond my comprehension. So I was standing there with my thumb up my butt, thinking to myself, well, what can I do about it? And I was on Instagram, and Tim Tebow put out an Instagram about the Tim Tebow Foundation, and he did a little video on human trafficking and how horrible it is. And listening to the words of him and the young lady that were in that video absolutely encapsulated my emotions towards this. This should be at the forefront of what's going on.
I agree.
And it's not that people aren't talking about it. There are a lot of people talking about it, but it's still just for whatever reason.
I know the reason.
Yeah.
If you look at the people that are going to be brought out in this thing, it's mainstream media people. It's Hollywood people. It's actors. It's
You're talking about the Epstein case?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just as part of the whole equation.
Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
That's
It is.
one thing. But it shows how prevalent this is. If it's all true, and I'm not going to bring up any names today, I'm not going to say Forrest Gump, and I live in Greece now. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you saw that too?
Yes.
Oh my God, weird. Anyway.
Yeah. So, why Forrest Gump would move to Greece and become a citizen of Greece, which is a non-extradition place, after being such a influential American that we all thought was a great person. It's just a little shocking to me. But anyway, so I've come around on this, and we're just a little show up in the Northeast that does our best to entertain and grill food and talk football and country music, and now a little bit more Yellowstone than we thought we ever would. But I reached out and I sent Tim Tebow a note, and I said, we're going to do everything we can to support the foundation and its efforts to eliminate this trafficking. And I'm telling you guys, not within an hour, I got a response back. It was amazing. And now it's probably his people doing it. I'm sure he's a busy man right now. But his statement was, God bless you and thank you for any help you can give us. So I sat around and I wondered what we could do, how we could do it. So what I've decided to do is for the rest of the year, at minimum, for the rest of the year, all net proceeds from our website, whether it be clothing, hats, grills, whatever the case may be, we're going to give all those proceeds to that foundation.
Which is awesome.
It makes me feel right. It makes me feel like we're doing something. So we as a team, we're going to be out there talking about it to y'all. We're going to be promoting it. And all the other noise, everything else going on is just going to take care of itself. But to me right now, first and foremost, this is the most important thing we're going to talk about. I am absolutely repulsed at what I've learned, and I'm ashamed of myself, to be honest, that I hadn't made myself this aware of this.
You know, I think all these states that, from what I'm learning about it, you guys are on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, we're all surrounded by water. So the states that border any kind of ocean and any kind of water system in or out has the highest rate of trafficking. Yep. Because they can just get them straight to a boat and they're gone. Or a container or whatever. We had a bust a few years ago out of Spokane, Washington, I believe, and they busted like 300 people. It was a massive sting operation, and they busted like 300 people, and it was from every age group up from like 18 all the way up to like 75-year-olds.
And you know what? That's horrible.
It's horrible. That's a huge amount of people.
But what's worse to me is these 14, 15, 16-year-old girls that are being just bought and sold.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I'm sure that everybody that listens to our show knows we're all about America and freedom and doing the right thing. But this is it for us. I'm drawing a line in the dirt, and if anybody thinks that this is too much for them, I apologize. But we're going to get into this, and we're going to do whatever we can to shine light on this. This is just flat out wrong. So in the weeks to come, we'll talk more about things, but know this, by next week, anybody who goes on our website and gets a hat or anything else, all the net proceeds to that are going right to the Tim Tebow Foundation, and we're proud to say that today.
That's awesome. Yep.
So that's a little heavy. So I'm gonna lighten up a little bit. This whole TikTok thing has been fascinating to me. We had a guest a couple of weeks ago, Matt Groark. He's a big TikTok guy, has like 1 million followers, maybe just shy of 1 million. And he's been concerned about, and frankly, anybody who's used that venue to promote themselves, about TikTok going away. Looks like that's going to get cleared up. It's the most popular thing going on in the United States with that genre of folks. And looks like Microsoft and Bill Gates are coming in just in time to grab it up, but none of that's confirmed yet. But while I was watching one of his videos, because let's face it, the dude can cook. Right after that, this girl came on who claims to be a mixologist expert. And she was talking about margaritas. Now, I'm not a mixologist expert, but I'm a pretty damn good bartender. And my one claim to fame with anybody who's ever come to one of our events is I can make some damn good margaritas. Well,
I love margaritas.
it's the perfect summer drink. Everything about it is just good to me.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
I'm an old school, and we'll get into that in a minute. But so I listened to a recipe, and I kind of scrolled back and listened to it again, and I said, "That's interesting. That would be so easy if it was good." So last night, if you go to our Instagram stories, it's the first Instagram story we've ever made. I actually tried this recipe. And it was simple. It was easy.
Results?
I give it a 7. Like if I was making margaritas for one of the tailgates and you had to make them for, heck, in Texas, we used to have 1,000, 1,500 people at one of our tailgates. We're thinking more like 100 or 200 are going to be here at Gillette. It'd be good because it was easy to make in bulk.
See, that's what it's about.
To me, I still like that handmade love. I love the mix of a little orange liqueur in there, whether it's a Grand Marnier or whatever tickles your fancy. But I was talking to the guy at the liquor store about this that I go to enough to know his name is Hector. He's the owner. He's a great guy.
Hector.
Yeah, Hector's our man, and we're going to talk about Hector a lot from now on. If you're here in the Providence, Pawtucket area of Rhode Island, he's the guy to go to. Usually you go in the liquor store, the guy nods at you, says, "What do you want?" So I got into this conversation with him about tequila, and his descent allows him to really talk tequila on top of the fact that he's owned the store for 15 years. And so he went into this big lesson for me on the different tequilas. And then at the end of this big lesson, I'm waiting for him to sell me like the nicest top of the line tequila there. He says, "Cliff, what are you going to do with these?" I said, "We're going to make this margarita that I saw." He goes, "Tell me how you're going to make it." I told him, he goes, "Don't spend money." He goes, "Don't buy absolute cheap. Buy some 1800 or some Cuervo. That's all you need in a margarita." So I bought some 1800. And he was absolutely right. In the case of this, which it only had several ingredients. Fresca soda, which I don't remember ever in my life having Fresca soda.
What?
Yep.
Whoa. Hold on. You've never tried Fresca?
Never.
Oh, my Lord.
Limeade. So I had to go get a can of the frozen limeade, the 1800. And that's all she was using. So I said, well, I'm going to abridge this. I'm going to change this a little bit. So it was 2 cans of the Sprite from the limeade. Once you put your limeade into the blender, then you took 3 cans of the Sprite and put that in, and then you put a can of the tequila. Well, I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, this isn't going to have enough lime to it. So what I did instead, and I don't know Fresca, we all know that at this point, is I switched out the last can of Fresca for 3 limes and some lime syrup, which I think is an essential ingredient to a good margarita. Rose's lime juice is just awesome. And I blended it all up. You can see it in the video. And truth is, it was good. But it was like restaurant good. It was
see, that's fast how I
food.
define them. It's like, because I can never make, or at least, up until sort of recently, I'd never been able to make a margarita like a restaurant one. You know what I'm saying? When you just taste it and you know that, like, whatever the hell that they put in it, you're always trying to replicate that, at least in my book.
Yeah, so I want that more of a natural flavor to it, handmade type of deal. And frankly, I'd prefer it over the rocks to frozen anyway. But regardless, if you need a margarita recipe for when you're having company over or whatever, check out the Instagram TV on ours. The recipe's on there. I think it's good for volume, so we'll leave it at that. What we know for sure, though, is it's an ideal summer drink. I mean, a frozen margarita, it's 90 degrees out, humid as hell. It's perfect for that. Which leads us into our next topic, beer. We always over to the From the Tailgate cooler, better known as a mini fridge. And he's going to get us out some Narragansett Dells, which is a shandy beer. He's going to get us out.
Oh, can't forget the.
He's going to make a lot of noise doing it. He's getting us out the Mango Passion Shandy, a Sam Adams Summer, and his Emu Wars by proclamation.
A personal favorite.
So we're gonna test those here on the air, and
So that one's all you, because I've already had a couple of these. It is.
so I'm gonna go click here. What do you have on? I know you're going to a barbecue or you're having company over. What's going to be your go-to today, Shasta?
You know, I let Joe pick the beer, so I don't even know what he's going to be serving, but we have there's a beer here called Mayo that he likes. It's a IPA.
Uh-huh.
And
Please tell me it doesn't have mayonnaise in it.
no, it's from a local brewery here, and it's in Seattle. And that's his favorite.
Well, local is good.
And don't kill me, but if I'm drinking a beer, I like Bud Light Lime. So
I mean,
don't kill me.
So
Yeah, that would be a summer beer. I'm not going to kill you, but I am going to laugh at you.
I know. What's new?
no.
Yeah. We were talking about, before we went on the air today, the evolution of our summer beer. What was good as summer beer? And I'm a minute or two older than Joe. I remember when Corona first became like a big deal. And I would drink Corona like water. Had to be ice cold.
And have a lime in it.
Had to have the lime. If those two things weren't happening, I wasn't drinking it. But for probably 3 or 4 years, that was my boat beer. We'd be out on the boat, Corona. If any of y'all listen to No Shoes Nation or Kenny Chesney or any of that stuff, that's their boat beer. I've since evolved. And I got to say, at this point in time, Sam Adams Summer is my go-to summer ice cold beer. I've been keeping Sam and Jim very happy with my purchases on a regular basis. But we're in the backyard of Narragansett beer, kind of like you are with Mayo up there. Do you ever say to Joe, hold the Mayo?
I always have jokes for that beer.
Well, that's my first one. So today, I'm going to have our beer expert, Joe. He's going to try the Narragansett Dells Lemonade. Now, for people like you that live in Seattle that don't know this, Dells Lemonade is this New England culture thing. It's like a frozen, what would you call it, Joe?
So it's a frozen lemonade, but it's a New England classic. Like for me, it just reminds me of, you go to the Providence place or you go to the Providence Zoo, and then you go out for an ice cold Dells frozen lemonade, and that's just like a New England summer right there.
Yep, no doubt about it.
And now the tradition has evolved a little bit. I mean, I don't know if
I feel like I've seen that here at our state fair.
I think they sell them like in the prepackaged numbers now still.
We talked about it on an earlier show that I was able to get Gansett beer in Texas, and they treated it as a high-end craft beer. It was like $12.
Oh, yeah.
But I bet you could find it out there. We'll send you some pictures of it so you know what it looks like and you can try it. Now, I've never been like a Dells guy.
Really?
Yeah, like I've probably had 5 in my whole life. Do you scoop the Dells, or how do you drink it?
No, I drink it I just drink it and let it melt. And that's part of it, because you just get it on like the hottest day, and it melts at the same speed you're putting it away.
Yeah. It's like a science.
Oh, absolutely.
Like my kids would just sit there with it and stare at it until it got to just the right, and then they bend the cup in half and kind of slide it up.
It in. Yep.
Well, anyway, Narragansett hooked up with Dells, and they came out with a shandy beer that uses Dells ingredients. So with no further ado, Joe, let's dive into that and tell me what you think.
All right.
That sounds amazing, by the way.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I have had it before. I haven't had the regular shandy this summer. So it's It tastes just like Dell's Shandy up front. It's not as heavy as like Gansett Lager, but it's a perfect combination.
So for somebody who hasn't had a Dell's lemonade, describe kind of that flavor.
It's light, crisp citrus. It's obviously like more of that sugary, but it's like a homemade lemonade. You know, I know
That makes sense.
It's got that different homemade taste.
Here would be my public service announcement. And I haven't tried one yet. We're going to.
So you're going to have to try the passion fruit.
Yeah, I'm going to try the passion fruit. Passion fruit. Say that again twice. Here in a second. But to me, I look at that and I think that's just a hangover in a can if I drank those like boat beer. Because it's probably got extra sugar.
I mean, it's got the Dells in there.
Yeah.
So this is like maybe the in-between beer. You have a couple of those in between whatever else you're doing.
I don't know if that's the case either, because last night I drank Sam Summer for 4 hours and woke up a little fuzzy today, and I'm all right with it. So what's the difference, right? You know, it's just different fruits.
Isn't that part of summer, though?
Absolutely it is. Absolutely. That's why I was glad you were coming over it, too.
Oh,
let that
you could sleep in.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much the sleep in part. It was let the alcohol from the previous night. First of all, I had to make those margaritas. I couldn't just let those sit around.
Oh, they don't go to waste.
No, they did not go to waste at all.
Ugh.
And then Sam Adams stopped by with a 12-pack. So,
oh boy,
film at 11. All right, I'm going to jump into this passion fruit shandy. Now, do you know what's in the passion fruit?
So it's mango passion fruit, and this is actually the first year that they've released this one. So
here we go. I'm pumped.
Drum roll for effect.
Oh, damn. That's good. That's real good. You need to go in the fridge and get you one of those.
Oh, I got. So we actually, for a while, they started sending them to our store just strung up like that as sixers, and I had to bring one home, and I put 5 of the 6 of them away the first night. They are. I think that's my favorite, followed by the regular lemonade.
Shasta,
yes.
I am going to get you off of this Bud Light line by sending you this. First, I'm going to go and find out if it's available out where you are. And if it's not, I'm going to ship a case of this stuff to you.
I would love that.
You'll be the coolest chick at the barbecues.
Seriously.
But you're going to have to guard this beer with your life because nobody else will be able to get it.
That's the passion fruit one that you're talking about?
Well, I have not tried the other one. I'm going to.
They both sound awesome.
There's also a watermelon.
Ooh.
Not tried, but we'll get to it some point down the road. We don't want to overdo it today. But this is good. This is good beer. It's ice cold.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, this is good stuff.
And you know, I'm a sucker for Narragansett. So when I found out that they had a new release, I basically talk to one of my beer guys every week, and I'm like, hey, anything new this week? Anything new this week? He's like, I finally have something for you. I was like, I hope it's good. And hey, Narragansett doesn't disappoint.
You know what? Here's what I think about Narragansett beer. Time and time and time again, they come out with new stuff, and they never let you down. It is what it is in the can, and there's damn sure some marketing that goes into what they do.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're marketing beasts, and I love that about them.
I mean, there's a reason they're hanging out with Dell's Lemonade.
Right. And for the folks that don't know, that's huge here. But they're also opening a beautiful venue here where they're going to brew from. They're going to have music. They just get beer. And I never open one and feel like, what a dud that one was. So it kind of goes along the same lines with me, and we've been talking about the Sam forever. The Sam Summer this year is the best summer ale I've had from Sam in a long time. And what I'll say about Sam Adams is they are always tinkering to make it better. Year in and year out, everything that goes into making a Sam Summer beer, I love it. And I'm not into the winter box or any of these other. I'm a summer beer guy, or I'm a beer guy.
Light, crisp, and easy. Yeah.
Correct. And both of these companies, Narragansett and Sam Adams, have nailed it.
What do you guys drink when the weather changes?
More.
Yeah.
Okay, more, but do you switch to like, are you into those pumpkin spice beers and all that?
I can't lie. Last year I got into the pumpkin beer, so I'm excited for those. But there's also a lot of I like drinking the heavier beers too. Like we got some really cool stouts and stuff when it starts to get really cold.
Yeah, I have two routes I go. One is old school. When I was in college and still playing and in the fraternity and all that stuff, we had a blood drive every year. And when the blood drive was done for the fraternity, we went to O'Hara's, which was the local pub on campus, and we drank Bass Ale, which is exactly what you shouldn't do. But I've been a Bass Ale fan forever.
Original pale ale.
Exactly. That's kind of my winter go-to. However, the first craft beer I ever had of a flavor was Shipyard's, not Pumpkinhead, but Smashed Pumpkin, which is, I believe, an 11%.
It's
ABV.
big. It's a big boy.
Yeah. I had been with some friends and we drank all their Pumpkinhead and they were bummed out. And as I was driving up, I was still doing the agent deal. So as we drove up and down the coast, I kept looking for Pumpkinhead. And then I wander into this little 2-bit place in Stamford, Connecticut. And I say, you got any pumpkin? And the guy, just before I even could get the word out, started laughing at me. Because back then you just couldn't get it. It sold out so fast. And then he goes, but wait, I've got some of the Big Brother. I go, what do you mean Big Brother? He goes, I have some Smashed Pumpkin from Shipyard. I go, I'll take it. So he goes, I have 12 bottles, which I thought was weird at the time. 12 bottles, what? And he comes out with these like wine-sized bottles.
They were bombers.
Yes. And he puts them down on the counter. And now the person who I had drank most of these for in my business life was very influential at that point. So I had to really take good care of him on this. So he puts them down and he goes something like, that'll be $157. Ooh. And I was like, what? And as soon as the word what came out of my mouth, my business brain kicked in and I said, all right, I'll take them. I drove back to Boston that night with 12 of these bottles. And in my old place, I had this little balcony in my condo on the 3rd floor. And it started to snow a little bit. And then it started to snow fast and hard. You know how it is here in New England. Oh, yeah. And I've got like bread, a box of macaroni and cheese, and this Shipyard in my house. And that's it. So I said, I'm going to have a couple of these beers. He'll never know whether I had 12 or 5 or whatever. So I drink one of them. The whole bottle.
That's a lot.
Well, at the time, I didn't know about everything that I know now about percentages. I just assumed it was a big...
because it doesn't taste as boozy as it is.
Oh, I know. It tastes wonderful.
Oh, no.
In fact, I came up with the coolest recipe, which we'll get into this fall. So I drink one of these things, and I'm rocked. I haven't eaten. I've been driving all day back from Meadowlands. It was awful. And then the snow's pouring down. So I think it's a good idea to call my girlfriend and tell her how much I love this. She was associated with the family of this person. And I'm going to have another one. And she goes, what the hell is wrong with you? You had one beer. You sound like you're a complete moron. So I took this other bottle and I went and sat out thinking I was going to watch the snow come down. Because, I'm on this little balcony. There's a little roof over me. And it's New England. What the hell? I wear shorts in the winter, for God's sakes. So I'm sitting out there, and the snow's coming down harder and harder. But I'm just loving this pumpkin spice. It was so good. I drank the second bottle.
Did you fall asleep out there?
No, but when I went inside,
that's where I thought he was going.
The left side of my face was like I was at the snow game at Gillette. There was all like snow, and my hair was kind of frozen from the shower I had taken.
Oh my gosh!
And I just laid down on the couch and slept the whole night on the couch. I woke up the next morning. I'm like, what happened to me? Then I started reading the bottle. So basically, one of those bombers is like, even if it was the same alcohol, it's probably like 3 or 4 beers, right?
Yeah, it's like 24 ounces, I think, something like that.
It's a big
lot.
Beer. It's a lot out. It's a lot to have 2 of.
Correct. And then you mix in the fact that it was 11 or 12% alcohol,
Oh
which a
boy.
regular is 4 or 5. I was a hot mess. So the long and short of this is it was fun. I love pumpkin spice to this day, but I will only have Shipyard.
That is
Oh
fair.
my gosh.
Still willing to.
I would have passed out if I drank one of those. I would not even make it to 2.
I drink anything but Shipyard after that.
Yeah, no, it's so good. I can't recommend it more. And I've tried every pumpkin trying to replicate it. Everybody bragging about this pumpkin, that pumpkin. Smash pumpkin from Shipyard is no joke. Absolutely no joke.
See, I'm curious to see, and I see you reaching for that can. I see you reaching for that. I'm curious what Proclamation, if they do a pumpkin beer. I don't recall last year if they did one, but.
And what a great segue, because we're getting ready to talk about Joe and I's probably favorite local beer, other than Gansett, because Gansets are poundable. But Proclamation has just never, ever let me down. And I just tried this Emu, and I'm like, damn, that's good.
Right? And so if you pour it into a glass, and I posted a picture on my Instagram, and it looks the same color as the sticker on the front. But I saw this when I put in for my beer order this week, seeing a beer called Emu Wars. I had to get it. And then when I tried it, I was like, all right, so at least it's funny. I was like, at the very least, it'll be a cool story to tell. And then when I tried the beer, I was like, holy crap. And it's incredible. It's a citrus bomb.
It's the one thing I've definitely determined here, coming back from Texas after a few years, is the uniqueness of the beers that are being put out here. Texas is this place where it's like when I'm cooking, guys, we joke about it all the time. Salt, pepper, garlic, butter. That's what we flavor things with in Texas. Don't talk to me about all those sauces, any of that stuff. Beer is kind of the same way. Here, between Proclamation and Smug, the names of their beers are
the names
incredible.
Are half of it.
It makes you laugh. Build Me a Bicycle Clown is going to go down forever from Smug. Traderade with the whole Patriots Brady thing.
I think this Emu War, that's mine.
And it's damn good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the beer. What do you think of the beer?
So the beer, it's a double IPA, and Proclamation always puts out really killer doubles. But this one is a big New England double, and it is a New England double. It is a citrus bomb. It is orange juice right up front. But it's really cool because you still get some subtle, like, tropical pineapple.
Agreed. Yep.
Like, right at the end. So it's not completely orange juice in a glass, but it's big, it's smooth, it's everything you want.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious. As doubles go, it's a very smooth double.
And it doesn't, exactly, you don't feel like you're drinking 10% right off the cuff. I mean, I don't think it's that high. I think this one's sitting at like 8.5, but so it's big, but
not 11% smashed.
No.
Which is what I was. Well, listen, we've had a great time talking with y'all today. We're going to come back on the other side, and Shasta and I are going to do a little bit of dance as it relates to what happened on the episode of Yellowstone, and we'll wrap things up. Folks, Tim Tebow Foundation, look them up. We're going to be talking about them a lot. Look for stuff on our social media and everywhere else. Hoodie, go get clowny.
Do it.
Everybody stay healthy. And let's come back and talk some Yellowstone TV.
Yes.
I'm out. You there?
Yep.
Okay, let's get into it. Last night's Yellowstone was unbelievable, Shasta. I don't know what to talk about first. There's clearly 4 or 5, 6 or 7 different storylines that are all coming to a tumultuous ending. You could just see the storm brewing. And I don't care if it's what happened with Jamie last night, or Rip and Beth, or Casey, or this guy who's wandered back into the Dutton life from a long time ago. It's just, it's been interesting. So I'm going to ask you, what was your biggest aha last night?
Oh, I think Jamie finding out that he was adopted was huge.
Yeah,
That was shocking.
I didn't know where that was going. I really didn't. And then at the end, when he sits down with his father, as not biological way would have it, I thought the way Kevin Costner portrayed that was unfreaking believable. Like, I went back and
Yeah.
watched it again. How he justified calling Jamie his son, how it was the hardest thing he's ever done, and how he teased what the story is. We still don't know what the story is, other than there was a violent end to the mother, but we don't know everything. But we're about to find out in the next 3 episodes that round out this season.
Well, and it's kind of the same way that he ended up with Rip in his life too. If you really break it down, I mean, that's how he ended up with Rip there at the ranch.
And that was kind of a fascinating, and we can jump right into the Rip and Beth engagement right from there. The one thing I walked away from was, one, we have to do a Rip challenge with people where they come out and they drink 2 beers right down and say, okay, now I can talk.
Now I'm ready.
I think it's 4 for me, but we're going to determine over the rest of the season here with Yellowstone what that number is for folks. But I
Yeah.
like that he said, when she asked him to marry her, he said 2 things. First, we knew he was going to say the thing about her dad,
Yeah.
because he has such respect. And then the interesting thing that you just don't process as you're watching the show is he goes, I don't really exist in this.
I know.
I mean, that was just gripping to me. I just thought it was so powerful. And then the way
It is. It's so sad too.
I don't think it really is. It just personifies to me what family is. Family's not always cut and dry. I marry a woman, we have kids, this is our family. If you look at the Dutton family, it's a coagulated mess. And if you look at Jamie and Rip in the equation, it's fascinating to me.
Well, and it definitely breaks down how, they're such hard asses and they seem like really just, they're always kind of getting stuff done and just kind of angry about it all. But the reality is that he's been bringing people in forever and taking care of them. Even with Jimmy, it's the same thing. He just wants to fix everybody, which you wouldn't think of Dutton's character.
And that was a good scene as well. It's good that you brought that up, how he brought Jimmy, how Rip brought Jimmy out to see what a superstar rodeo person looks like. And I don't know when, I think we'll again find out here. Does that push Jimmy more towards rodeo or pull him back to realize his home is on the ranch?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, that was his wake-up call.
Yeah, it was it was fascinating. He just looked befuddled. Like, how could this kid possibly think that horse is easy to ride?
Yeah, I know. And they all kind of have a way of showing people things that maybe they don't want to see in their own roundabout way. They've done that with other characters too. Exposed them to something to show them the light.
Yeah. And then let's round this talk out with Casey. I mean, Casey seems to be the perfect fit for this job he's now in.
Yes.
He saved 2 guys' lives basically when they went on that raid into that house for the cattle thieves.
Mm-hmm.
But you also,
he just has no fear. He has no fear at all. He is the perfect fit for that job.
Yeah, he's got that. His history is the military, and they don't talk much about it on the show. But he's well trained, and then you see who he really is deep down when he looks across the kitchen and sees the young girl crying over her father, who had just, I think he's
that was
really
sad.
His own. Yeah, I think he's coming into his own.
Well, and I think just going through all that stuff with his son too, I think has kind of put all that in the forefront for him.
100%. It's like I said, I'm so excited. There's only 3 episodes left for this season.
I know that's not very much time. It goes by so fast each episode.
Yeah, you just want to drink it all in. When I start to really miss it, though, what I'll do is I'll put on the Yellowstone soundtrack. And if y'all listening don't have that downloaded, you got to do it because it really does help
So good.
the week. It's so good. But I just want to – I think the one thing we know is happening here is the next 3 Sundays are not going to be Sundays you want to miss. I mean, it's just building and building and building, and you feel like there's this giant explosion coming, and you don't know where it's coming from. The storytelling is amazing.
Oh yeah, and it's nerve-wracking. Like every character you're attached to, and you just want to see all these great things happen, but it's always, you're just always on the edge of your seat.
Yes, and from a pure humor standpoint, how funny was the girl in the back seat, Jimmy's girlfriend? I forget her name. Just
Mia.
That's it. Just tearing poor Rip up because he wouldn't put music on.
I'm gonna kill you with my bare hands, Jimmy.
And then when you never thought the day was going to end the way it did when you saw him on the side of the road fixing that flat tire, just kicking the crap out of the truck. I thought of the trailer. I thought, if that's not me right there, nothing is.
It's so funny. Such a great character.
It's the best. And, he just fits it so perfectly. It's just like he doesn't have to try. This is just who he is. It's a lot of fun.
I know. And I loved the engagement when she handed him that ring. And then when he finally said, okay, I'll do it, he's like, I might have wanted some diamonds.
Yeah, some bling.
So cute.
It was. Well, it was a great episode. We hope everybody else that's listening to us out there enjoyed it as much as we did. And we look forward to bringing you some updates next weekend after the show's over. We've kind of tailored our schedule to put the last segment in early on Monday morning, early Shasta's time, lunchtime for me. But It's fun talking about it on a Monday morning. It's definitely water cooler tailgate talk.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Well, it's been a great show. We've had a blast talking to y'all. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we did, and we'll see you next weekend.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. We love having you as part of our tailgate family. Until next time, follow us on Instagram and Twitter @FromTheTailgate, or check out all kinds of cool stuff on our website, from grilling tips to music playlists, sports updates, and more, all at FromTheTailgate.com.